had the same thing that happened to us last week. We are working to get better and improving every time we do this. So we thank you for your patience.
All right, well, back in. Perfect segue from talking to Councilwoman Erby. And we want to put some pressure on our next guest, former House Representative, former State Senator, former Director of the St. Louis County Elections Board, the one, the only, Miss Rita Days.
And we'll move you on there. First of all, we need to congratulate you. What do we have to congratulate you on there? Let her know.
Well, this is wine about the region. So what we have to congratulate the senator on, and hopefully soon to be councilwoman, is that you are not only the first guest on Wine About the Region, you are the first two-time guest.
Y'all didn't get it right.
So she should have got a little bit of a bigger queening, but we're gonna let her queen with the rest of it. You're used to my little hat. You are. This is how you tell that you got a real friend, because you have her wear these little goofy hats. She just do it. She don't like that.
Oh my God.
All right. Yeah,
All
we're
right.
queening. And these are your gifts of flags from me and Bill. One about the region. We got our flags. At the end, we're gonna do a little celebration, carry some energy into next week. So we're gonna do the celebration
August 6th.
Yeah, next week.
There you go.
That's it.
All right.
She was saying that. Tuesday, August 6th. You know, last time we had a little vermin flying around. Do you remember that?
I do.
Okay.
All in the show.
We had a little thing coming around here, but it's good to be back with you guys. It really is, and knowing that we are days away.
Days.
This has been probably the fastest campaign I think I've ever run. We started July 4th. Tomorrow will be the 4th.
What benefits to it? What benefits to it? Because the local campaign is
Well, I
tough.
understand that, but I'm
You got
telling
to
you.
it. I'm telling you, if anybody could do it, you could.
Well, I appreciate that.
Dog.
Probably after this, I'll pass out. I was kidding my campaign manager. She was driving around. I said, do I need to drive myself? You're going to kill me. She said, oh, no, we can't do that. I'll prop you up and let you say, the oath and everything. So we're going to get this done. So it really has been a good deal. I'm very pleased. I was very pleased that the previous council person, Hazel Erby, asked me to run. We pretty much got into this thing basically the same way. When she went to the meeting, they drafted her to do that. Then I was at another position, and this came up very quickly because nobody knew she was going to take the job with page administration, and that left her seat open. And so, but it has been a whirlwind campaign. So,
Well, before I ask my question, let me just say thank you to two black women standing together. And I'd like for you to this is off script here, but I'd like for you to say something on camera to younger women that kind of can't stick together and get done with you guys. I mean, I'm feeling safe to say there are some women that could not have stuck together and accomplished this. You guys wanted to go. You guys wanted you to get the nomination. You wanted to move forward with that. And you were able to do that. You were able to stand as one. And I see that as a problem with, sometimes my age bracket as far as black women and standing together. So I just like for you to just give a little bit of advice a little bit of wisdom to younger women about standing together.
well, it's not really wisdom. We have been through the trenches, and we know that you don't do this alone. We know that you have to have other people standing there with you. We stand on shoulders that were there before we were. We have the Harriet Woods and people like that we stood on their shoulders. They prepared the way for us. And so we only feel that it's right that we pay that forward rather, and make sure that that younger women see as an example, just as an example that this is how you get things done. So of course, it's left up to them to pick up on that and carry that forward. But we feel very strongly about that. And when we have found, even in the legislature, when women work together, and we were able to work in the legislature across party lines, women's issues were women's issues, and we attacked them together. Okay. And so we were able to accomplish quite a bit there. But the only advice I can say is that you have to be unselfish, if that's
Got it.
appropriate word to put it. It's not about you, and no one, you know, Hazel couldn't get anything done with one vote. There were 7 people there. I couldn't get anything done in the House, 163 people, in the Senate, 34 people. You don't do that alone. So you have to have a coalition of people of like minds and move forward with integrity and honesty. And I think that's what we both have done.
And I think the younger generation has to realize that we have experience just, you know, from the time being here and listen to those. Sometimes young people think that they don't need the folks over. Somebody told me we don't need anybody over 40 in office. And that's wrong, because there comes a wealth of experience. We learn from the people younger than us, and we learn from the people who are older than us as well. I had some role models. I met with attorney Frankie Freeman, Margaret Bush Wilson, and another person who took me around when I ran the first time, and there was Juanita Head Walton. Juanita was so unselfish.
And it's kind of like, looks for the,
Juanita was so unselfish in taking me around and putting me in the spotlight, and she was running at the same time. And yeah, I had a lot of people, a lot of women, and then I think about the men when I look over at John, and I think about Earl Bush. You know, they had experience, and they kept me busy. They kept me, every time I sit down and think I was going to put my feet up, they were here, let's go. So we have to encourage one another, whether it's male or female, and we have to listen. We want that.
Men can still do some stuff too.
Well, we understand that we're not, but you know, it's almost as if, you know, women are an afterthought in this arena.
Right.
It's not that many women in this, and so as you look at men seem to have an inherent support system. They know how to, they've done this, they do the golf, whatever you do with golf. and they have these activities that they coalesce around. And so, but women are new essentially to this.
They don't want to hear that. The other day we had a little message, and I kind of got in on it, me and Bill, about how men need help too. Men need strong, you know, women help too. And I'm kind of like, really? Like all of a sudden now, it's not. I said, we done came a long way. Let us go forward.
We have.
Would you like it?
I'm good. Thank you.
Great. Okay, so let's get to the question. Senator, soon to be councilwoman, you've been on the campaign trail for the last month plus. How are you feeling about things?
I'm feeling pretty good. I think the people have been just phenomenal in accepting me. I think that of course my reputation, my way of doing things preceded me. I keep telling I was trying to retire. I was pulling back, and they keep pulling me forward into this business. But it has been wonderful, and the reception has been phenomenal. We were at an event today, rigged. We had a showing of rigged, and that's the voter suppression. And I recommend that everybody take a look at that. There's so many things that are going on that we have no idea about. We surmise, we think a little bit, but I will tell you that documentary laid it out. And it is a playbook that they're going for. And so it has been great. It really has been great. I have a fantastic team that has kept me busy the whole time. And as I said, in 1 month's time, you know, we've done quite a bit.
1 month, you hit the ground, you did fundraising,
well,
you did like everything.
You had to do fundraising, you had to do the events, and so we're nearing the end.
All right. And Bill?
Well,
she's got more energy than any of the young people.
My neighbor said that. She said, you know, I don't get up till 11. She said, why are you up at 7 o'clock? I said, Sherry, I can't stay in bed. And usually when I was working, I was at the office at 7 a.m.
Really?
Yeah, because I got there before the train.
I going to church, so I
I
can just imagine how early you get up.
That's right. That's right.
So Bill, since last, you had me disclose my relationship with Deb Lavender last week.
Okay.
Now it's your turn, and you can actually, I think we've heard about your relationship with the senator on our previous show, but can you tell us a little bit about you and Hazel Erby?
Okay. Well, I mean, the councilwoman and I, Councilwoman Erby, have known each other for a number of years. I worked with her closely when I was in the former former county executive's office, Charlie
Former.
Dooley. I just want to make sure those two formers
You
are
got
in
that
there.
right. You got that right.
So we worked a lot together and have done a lot together on a lot of things that I think have been real important to this region. This flies in my cup. You went, not just laying on my
Yeah, you don't like you, Bill. Dang. I guess that. Well, look, she didn't want any, so there you go. You can have that one, Sly. You can have
And
that
now just
one.
laying right in
All
my
right, and
cup.
just briefly, you can just talk about your relish relationship.
The senator, and
The senator.
I was referred to him
Senator.
respectfully,
Yes.
you know,
Depends on where we're at.
question. Not really, it don't really
Well,
depend.
me, because if we like at the movies or something, you know, I'm like,
Well, me and the senator have, how many more times? I'm not even talking about the last stuff, but no, we became close during Charlie's re-election campaign, which I mentioned on the first episode that you were in. And you know, I'm glad that we met each other under those circumstances than the previous thought circumstances, which I don't want to talk about again. I'm gonna leave that alone. But I'm actually working on Rita's campaign as well. And so we've been doing some great things. I look for, you know, what should be a great outcome on Tuesday, August 6th.
right.
August 6th.
I know, she just like, she wants to drop the mic. Every time you say August 6th, I want you to drop this pen.
That's
All
it,
right.
August 6th.
Well,
Well,
obviously,
you know, seriously, though, there are a lot of people that don't even realize that there is an
Absolutely.
election on August
You're
6th. So
absolutely right.
I have to keep the word out there, August
you have to
6th
keep it out
election.
there.
Well, yeah, well, I'll help you. Well, if you can't help me, you better Tuesday.
Right,
You know,
right.
this is when the
And
election, so that's
That's
what.
what it was for us.
I've been- We need help, but I've been seeing yard signs pop up, so if
Live
that-
studio audience, we have a live studio audience.
Exactly, so
That
yeah,
guy.
we got people
Sorry,
telling us
yeah.
things on the side,
So they need help
they
on the
need
campaign.
help.
Anyone that would like to help you, how can they get in touch with
They
you?
can get in touch with me through Facebook
Mhm.
and Twitter.
And the website, what's the website address?
RitaDays.com.
RitaDays.com.
I'm so proud of me for remembering that.
Thank you. This is
But,
all your
but
name.
actually, you know, right now we're looking for people to drop literature
Right.
on either tomorrow or Monday. And then we're looking for poll workers, if anyone has some extra time on Tuesday to actually do that, that would be very helpful.
Okay. Well, obviously, you know, nothing's possible without a win on August 6th.
August 6th.
But let's say we get past that and you become the next First District County Councilwoman. What things did Councilwoman Erby pursue that are still on the table maybe, that you might continue to pursue to continue to push the First District forward?
What happened?
The first district is in need of economic development. We need people who get jobs. We need
Yes.
people who have decent housing. These are issues that the previous county councilwoman, I hope she didn't mind, but I do say Hazel. And those are issues that were important to her. The equity issues, making sure that people get paid equally, whether you are male or female, or whether you been here or you're coming in, whatever. There should be a standardized salary schedule, if you will, and she's worked on that. Inclusion, making sure that we have people of color who can access the contract and procurement in St. Louis County. And those are key, because those are very, very good jobs. We want to work with our labor community. They have the BUD program, the Building Union Diversity, I think is what it stands for. We want to make sure that we have folks that are in those pipelines to get that kind of work, do internships. And that's some of the things that she's worked on, and I will continue that, because that's near and dear to me as well.
There's a few people over in the area you were in today for the back to school event that's really, really worried about streetlights too. So like Bono, Claremont, there's been some issues and some crimes going on, and if they had better streetlights, I think someone told me they even, for a light in front of their house to work, they have to put that on their bill with Amber or something.
I'm not sure about specifics, but those kinds of things need to come to you. I can't operate if I don't know that, and so you come if that's a county issue, then that's something we need to address as a county council, and we'll do that. But people have to be willing to step up and say, you know, this is an issue, even if they just call.
Okay.
You know,
Right.
it's sometimes difficult for people to come to meetings. We have people who work in the evenings,
Right.
and they can't make that. So that's what I'm there for. That's what we're
Right.
there for. And
I've been
so-
telling them that too. So
Okay.
I'm looking forward to getting with you on the street lights. Councilwoman Erby has a new role as Director of Diversity in St. Louis County. What can you do to work with her and push the envelope to create more opportunities for the residents of the First District?
I think the county, the new position that she's in is gonna need money. They're gonna need a budget item. They're gonna need, she needs to know how much money she has and what she can do with that money. It's one thing to put people in positions and not fund that. That means nothing. What does that do for anybody? And so I think that's one of the first things that we need to make sure that there's a line item for her department in there and what she needs to accomplish the goals that she wants. So that would be absolutely the first thing.
I totally.
And see, I'm looking this way, I can't even see her.
That's what we're talking about though, about bossing up. You see how this is just bossing all the way up, all the way around, for the better of the people there. You know, I'm just
We don't know the language. They have to teach us the
Well,
language.
yeah, I'm just saying, like, the way, you know, she's supporting you, then you turn around, you gonna make sure she got, yeah, that's what you call bossing up. That's like you know, a lot of women, they kinda, go into positions, they don't do that, so that's a great example that you would
No, I think that's key, and that's key. And of course, since I'm here and she was here, there are things that she will need. All she has to do is tell me.
Right.
We on it.
That's beautiful. So you
All right. Well, okay, so through your time in public service, you've had a number of different perspectives. You've been, a House representative, you've been a state senator, so you've had sort of a statewide perspective. You've been elections board director, so you've had, a countywide perspective. Now your perspective is the first district. How do you work with the current administration and other council members, current and future council members to create additional opportunities? Because, obviously it's not just about North County, even though that is your priority, but how do you work with them to make sure you get things done for the district that you are representing?
Again, it takes a majority of the council to get anything done. So that would be at least 4 members in agreement with whatever it is that I want to do. I do plan to make sure and introduce myself to all of them. They don't know me. The only person I believe that does, well, I met Lisa and I knew Rochelle when she was in the house. And but the others I'm not aware of. I am going to be working with Kelli when she gets there as well.
There you go.
And so we will have an open forum, if you will, of the sort. I will give my priorities, what I think is important for my district, and I'm sure that they will do the same. But I have the reputation of being able to work with anyone. I can work with across the lines, up the lines, down the lines, around the corner, because that's important in getting what St. Louis County needs. Right now, we are in dire need of integrity. We almost need a public relations firm to lift, our consciousness about what has happened in St. Louis County in this last year.
It's been traumatic, honestly, for the county.
Absolutely for the traumatic. And we are the economic engine of this state. And if St. Louis County doesn't do well, then that means the state doesn't do well. So I'm pretty sure that other people around the state are just as interested in this as we are.
Yeah.
But absolutely working with, I have no problem with working with anyone on any side of the aisle, if you will. And it's unfortunate that we have to do that, because what is important in your district in West County is just as important in my district. And people want safe neighborhoods. They want jobs. And so I don't see that there's any partisan difference. And good government is probably at the top. They want to make sure that their government is working for them. And that's why when we say the word politician, and it gets such a very, very bad name, but we are public servants. If we remember that, if all of us, all 7 of us remember that we are public servants, then I don't think we'll have a problem at all.
Well, I have to add there that you guys should definitely get out on August the 6th, Tuesday, and vote for the senator, soon to be councilwoman. Because one of my neighbors, I have some of her signs on my street, and one of my neighbors came to me, and I have her signs out. They said, I need one of the lady signs, and I'm voting for her because it's the first time that you and the mayor have had the same sign in their yard. So I like to let you know, Rick is it. Because
Rick
is it. That she
On when?
August 6th.
There you go. Okay.
Well, thank you, Senator. As we welcome another potential councilwoman you may have to work with in St. Louis County, let's welcome Kelli Dunaway, candidate for the district. We want to make the rotation.
All right.
Here's another queen.
You have to wait around too.
And someday I might be as sensible as these ladies.
What's happened to us this time, man?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
We get the glass. You sure? Okay. And we're actually looking purple down at Rita, but at the end, you all will need these because we're going to go. What color you want, Hazel, into the celebration here? We're going to go into next week celebrating.
Yeah, I know.
We're going to
And
crack these open.
Kelli was here talking about Maryland Heights earlier in such a positive way.
Okay, all right.
I
Okay,
love
Kelli.
Maryland Heights.
Yeah, no, we had a fun conversation about Maryland Heights. Our cameraman knows the story. But
I've been knocking on a lot of doors, which is why I don't look as nice as these ladies.
Well, I think we all, everybody knocking on doors, I'm sure you're knocking. All right, Kelli, just let me get you. You know, we're about to do some things.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
You already know we got it. Okay, Kelli, tell us a little bit about you, for those who don't know you, and what separates you from other candidates in the second district race.
Well, I'm a Democrat. That separates me from all the other candidates.
Hey, and for that, where's your flag too? Girl, represent.
I'm a mom. I'm a recovering lawyer, and I've worked in the legal field for almost 20 years. I've been at Brian K. Layton Paisner here in downtown St. Louis for the last 8 years as their Director of Learning and Development.
Okay.
So helping people rise to their greatest potential is what I do for a living, and something I like to bring with me to the county council. I grew up in a small town in southern Illinois. I've lived here for 8 years. I've got 2 little kids, a 5 and a 7-year-old in the public schools in Parkway, and I'm just really excited to be here. So thanks for having me.
well, you and Rita, you and the senator have had dozens of canvases go out today, knocking on doors as well as folks on phones, writing postcards and all kinds of things over the past few weeks. What do you think is at stake for St. Louis County in these 2 races, in this first district and the second council districts?
Well, one of the things that's at stake, and a huge thing, is making sure that Democrats maintain control of the county council. Right now, the Republicans have control 3-2. After Rita and I win, the Democrats will retake control 4-3. If we don't win, then Democrats may not have control. I think that's critical because I think at a time when you were already talking earlier, the county's reeling from this trauma that we've been through, and I think it's time for some new and exciting policies and ideas and people who are paying attention to the constituents. And really, I feel so fortunate, and I know Rita does too, that we are going to come into seats and our predecessors are still going to be right for us and help us get to know our district. So that continuation will really benefit all of our goal to help bring some
That's a great thing. That is a great thing. Okay. Much of your district is considered North County. How are you going to work with Rita to make sure that opportunities come back to the community?
You said it best already. I think it's just working with our other elected officials to find opportunities to bring jobs and job development and workforce development into the district. In the northern part of my district, it's Hazelwood, Bridgeton, the northern half of Maryland Heights. folks really feel left behind, and they've seen the southern part of the district thriving, and they want a piece of that. And I believe that as solar panel installers is the fastest growing job in Missouri, I see that as an opportunity to bring some of those green jobs and that green economy right here to North St. Louis County. So I'm gonna be looking for every opportunity I can to do that.
Okay, well, I'm gonna talk about something that I saw on Facebook.
Okay. Oh, Facebook.
Facebook is always Facebook is always good for something. Facebook, I saw a post from the group called Stop the City County Merger page, and it said, in quotes, "Stop the merger." Then of course it mentioned your Republican opponent for county council because we can't afford a pro-merger lawyer.
Okay.
Which I believe they're speaking about you.
I think they're speaking about me too.
Tell us how you respond to that.
I mean, I've made it so clear. I have a video out there. I am anti-Better Together. I think that, what's the language rule on the show? I think that just
Say whatever you want.
Okay, good.
Especially after a few glasses with his wine.
I think
Say whatever you want with it.
I think like everything else that Steve Stanger touched, Better Together is shit. And I think that it's not coming back, because even if Better Together tries to bring it back, we're not gonna let him bring it back. And that's not what the people at least in my district, when I'm knocking on doors, they don't want Better Together, I don't want Better Together. And yeah, I have a license to practice law in California, but I consider myself a recovering lawyer more than an actual practicing lawyer.
So what do you?
Actually, hold on.
You know what?
I had a couple
Let me
extra
tell you
things.
something. I know I get ready to go with you on this
Well, no,
every
this-
time, Bill. Every
But she
time.
did it to me all the time.
All right,
No,
do your
there's
thing.
just a couple things I wanted to throw in there. Actually, to kind of all of you. And this is something that I, have actually found a little, like actually more than just a little offensive. Like I had, talked to some folks, and this was before even the nomination process with you, Senator, where I talked to some folks that were saying, well, then we'll have, 4 Democratic women on the council.
You always put
And
your foot in your
I-
mouth.
They say
You
that's a
always
bad
put
thing?
your foot in your mouth.
No.
Go ahead.
Will you let me talk?
All right.
No,
Put your
but-
foot.
no.
It's more of us.
Listen, can I
All
talk,
right.
please?
All right.
Can you stop talking for a second? Alright, no, I found it offensive. Huh? I'm sorry.
He's whining about the region.
No, here's the thing, and I wanna be clear about this. I was offended because, I had a serious problem with the idea that somehow it's a bad thing that there would be potentially 4 Democratic women on the council. And I say a couple things. Number one, in this country, it's been, largely, white males for generations that have run governmental bodies in this country, across this country. And, the notion that somehow you can't have a majority of women, I think is absurd. And I say that from a very personal place because, I was one of those young folks that, for at least the most part of my young life, I had a father who was at least around, maybe not as active, but my mother was the one who actually went to work, was largely the breadwinner. My mother actually sent my father to school to get his PhD while she, paid the bills, while she worked. And so, I am not intimidated. I love strong women. I always have. So I was offended by the notion that somehow that's a bad thing. I think it's a great thing. So I'd like to get y'all's input. Like I'm sure maybe you've heard that, or maybe I don't know.
I have not heard that in the negative context that you're speaking. I've just heard that there will be 4 women that will be running St. Louis County.
Right.
That these women will have a larger jurisdiction than some states, and that's key.
Right.
That is very key. So I've not really had any
I've heard it,
negativity
but I've just heard it
around
from
that.
men.
We've talked about it.
But I've heard it from men, and then, it's kind of like, let women have their shine, I'm just saying,
They better just get over it.
No, but listen,
That's right.
did I put my foot
didn't just shake in their boots when the women are trying to take it.
That's exactly right.
Thank you,
And they
Hazel.
better
She's
get
right.
together this time or we will still end up.
That's right.
That's true. But I am glad you got, look, this is
All right.
about.
Well, no,
I'm
I wanted to
Jesus.
say that, because there's a couple folks that I've talked to that suggested that somehow, the senator, should have, set herself aside to allow a man to be, I've heard this from a couple people, this is not just me.
Well, me too,
I thought
me
this was
too.
ridiculous.
Look, I don't know, you know this, and I've heard how Brian Williams was a moment for me. Like that was our moment, Teona. Brian Williams was like, and not from Bill, but just that was our moment for me, from another man. I'm like, well, good, y'all had y'all moment. That's fine. We can accept y'all having y'all moment. If that's how you feel about the 14th district, which you represented, and you know all that, then fine. It wasn't no big ruckus when.
But it comes down to credentials again. Just because you're a male doesn't mean you get the position. You go for the person who has the best experience, who will do the best in the position. And when I think of the men, I mean, I don't mean any offense to anyone, and compare them to our candidate, they don't add up.
Oh, they don't hold the candle to it.
But see, that's another thing that's even deeper than that in my mind. See, there we start again a division.
Yes.
There is a division, and you're starting that conversation. It's not necessary. Whoever is the candidate, and I'm the nominee, I won the nomination, let's move forward with that. But let's
Right.
not start the division from the beginning. That
Right.
I don't think that does anyone.
And you're absolutely right. That's what keeps us down. That's what happened with, again, the presidential election last time. You know, everybody had issues, and even we let 45 bring up some unnecessary issues about our female candidate, and people bought into that. Even Democrats, men. So that's how we ended up in this position.
And so if you look at the demographics, you see who's voting for whom. You look at that, you're a statistician, you know that. You look at that kind of thing all the time. And men will vote for men. That's it. So,
Well, I think you ladies are gonna do a phenomenal job, and I think we're coming to an end here, so I am going to get us ready for a little bit of the pre-celebration. Does everybody have noisemakers here? If you wanna take. Alright, so make sure you have your string out, and everybody get your noisemaker. You studio audience.
Let's be quiet.
And then we'll have extra ones in case you would like to take them. Yeah, just have this ready to
Oh, but
go.
upside down?
Yes,
I don't
and
mind.
get your noise back. And this is us, to our viewers, this is us going into August
6th.
August
Let's
6th.
go on into August
August
6th.
6th.
This is like the celebration before the celebration. So we would toast, but we had very nice ladies that told us they didn't want to drink our wine, which I'm very happy about.
And one lady that's not so nice.
Right, and one lady that's just like, hey, here's my glass, let's get it. But let's go ahead and get the celebration over
Can you
here.
pull the string?
Well, we want to blow our noise
Okay.
horn.
Thank you, Mom.
Oh my God. Thank you, Mama. We appreciate the wine. And we appreciate the big bottle. Bill, he should say the big bottle. He appreciates that. All right. We would like to thank our viewers for tuning in. We are going to continue to whine about the region because we care. If you have any ideas or topics of people to interview or shows or interesting advertising, you would like to sponsor us, you can find us on Facebook, or you can email us at btwinery@gmail.com.
All right, and all we can tell you right now is to make sure you go out and vote on August 6th. You never know, your life may depend on it. We are the only solution to improve our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Victory.
Yeah.
August 6th. That's it.
All right.